Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, this is the show I like to call Getting Started With. And I'll pick a random club all the time. And this time around, it's not random anymore, but it's specifically Blackburn Rovers, because I've been asked many times to do Blackburn Rovers and I've said no many times because there is a personal reason of mine why I don't want to do Blackburn Rovers. But this is a club with fantastic history and I really like the club until something happened, right? So since then I've been like, no way. But this Lancashire club is going to be a club to watch in FM19 as well, because they are a newly promoted side with plenty of potential to do phenomenal things in this club. So, but there are certain things you need to understand first out of the gate when you go to this club. Their transfer budget is going to be 5 million. You can't do very much with 5 million, right? But what you need to do is you need to lower the wage budget. So you're gonna have to you got to increase the wage budget. So basically what you need to have is a buffer to go and get 2 more loan signings. The thing about Blackburn is they have good loan signings already, but what you really need to do is you need to go out there and get a few more fullbacks. Fullbacks are going to be very important because there aren't a lot and fullbacks get very tired. Speaking of which, you also need to go and get a head of sports science and a sports scientist, because this club does not start with them. So, I mean, it doesn't start with a sports scientist. So I went and got a head of sports science and a sports scientist. You also need to get a coach. And when you do your coaching, when you do the coach stuff, you go out there and get your coaches, edit the coach assignment so that you do a bit of jugglery and get yourself as many 3 stars as possible. Unfortunately for us, technical attacking, we're not very good, but I think we can now move ourselves out and put ourselves here, but still we're not that good. Technical, and we go here and we go here. Yeah, we might be able to help them out, but still not very good. So yeah, you got to go out there and fix this. Go and get your own, because I focus on defending, right? So you might want to go and get a coach that can help you guys out in the attacking department. We don't have one. You see, all these technical, they all affect attributes, right? So you're gonna have to think about getting the right coaches in, because, for example, if you want a positioning to be improved as an attribute for your central defenders, but your coaches is got a 1 star, trust me, getting a 4 star is going to have a better effect on your players' growth in positioning than the 1 star that you currently have in your club. So that's definitely something that you have to go and do. All right, the other thing that you have at this club is a fantastic pool of youngsters. So you've got all these youngsters. Now, what I would do is I'd promote them all into the first team squad. The moment you promote them into the first team squad, then go to training, go to mentoring, just ask the assistant to assign them. He'll assign them nicely and you'll have them all popping up in your groups like this. Or you can do it by yourself. But if you're going to do it by yourself, you're going to understand how dynamics, hierarchy, and the number of matches they play comes into play. So this is a pretty easy setup. So when you go in there, the first thing you do, fix your wage budget, get yourself a buffer. Then you need to go out there and understand why you need to deal with that buffer. So I'm going to look at the defenders only. All right. Now here, we're going to look at the fullbacks on the left flank. These are the fullbacks you start with. You got Amari Bell. This is a horse that runs. This is a player that runs so fast, he actually ends up outside the stadium because he does not know where to stop. I wouldn't even play him. I mean, he doesn't have any decisions. He's already 24 years old, so I don't see any upside to this player. I would probably let him go. I probably wouldn't use him. I can't see using him being anything more than a hindrance at the moment, because he's got low bravery. He has no decision making to go. I mean, I'd probably loan him out as well, because he's just going to dribble with the ball and then after that end up in Arsenal. Okay. The other thing that you want to do is look at your players, because we've got Derek Williams. He's not that bad, right? He's definitely a starter. But what I did was I went out and signed 2 more, Marcus Sutter and Ashley Richards. Ashley Richards because he can play on the left and the right flank, and Marcus Sutter. Why is it important to sign these fullbacks? Because fullbacks are rare in the game. Secondly, fatigue is going to play a big part. Injury is going to be a play a big part. And the most vulnerable area on the pitch is actually the fullbacks, because once the fullbacks drop, a lot of your potency in a lot of your systems goes. So you want to go out there and sign, and you can get all these players in fairly quickly. In fact, I managed to get 3 transfers into the club, including Josh Clark, who I, a bit of an idiot that I was. I ended up doing this, which you shouldn't do. So you're able to get Josh Clark into the club. If you don't really need Josh Clark anyway to begin with. You can have these 2 and you'll be fine. At least you have cover for the players. They begin with some of these other players. They signed Joe Rothwell, who's not bad as a playmaker, right? Or attacking midfielder. They've got Jack Rodwell from Sunderland. They signed on a free. I don't even think that we can play him. He's not that fan. I mean, Jack Rodwell. The problem with Jack Rodwell is when the going gets tough, he's the first to get going. So he's gonna leave the stadium. It's like if the ground trembles under him, he's already flying out of the house. Okay, so he's not gonna stick around and try and hold the door or hold the door open for anybody wanting to run out. He's gonna be out there first because his bravery is so low, his determination is also very low. So 90-minute games, cup finals, big matches, I wouldn't use him. So Jack Rodwell, unfortunately, is not going to be major. Adam Armstrong, signed from Newcastle, not a bad striker. Definitely, he's got very good acceleration. Not very good at shifting his body weight from left to right, beating a defender. If you're playing against a team that is giving you a lot of space, right, then use him. You're limited in the number of kinds of games you can use Adam Armstrong in. Adam Armstrong does not play well in matches where they are sitting back and defending. He only plays well in matches where there's lots of space. Jacob Davenport comes from Man City. Fantastic young player. Unfortunately, he'll be injured in your team because he's injured already. So he's injured for a while. Harrison Reed on loan from Southampton. Very good player. You'll be using him as well. Casey Palmer from Chelsea. You'll be using him. Bit injury prone at the start of the season. So you want to be very careful how you nurse him. You don't lose him because he gives you a lot of options in the final third. Ben Brereton, fantastic loan signing from Nottingham Forest. 19-year-old. You're going to be using him a lot. He'll be playing a big part in your tactics because he can play as a striker, he can play as an inside forward. Because of he comes in on either foot. Okay, so what did we do with this team, right? So training wise, what I did at the start of the season was pretty psychotic. What I'm going to show you may scare you, but I hope you take it the right way. Pre-season, something like this. Yeah, so we had endurance every single day of preseason. We pushed them to the limit, right? I was playing players only for 45 minutes. I was taking them off. And slowly as the preseason progressed, I started giving them more and more rest days. But at the start, yes, I was pushing them like there was no tomorrow. And then when the season proper started, of course, we have rest days in between. I give them extra. I would watch what the intensity of the matches was. I focus on defending or attacking. So you'll have to make a decision on your own as to how you want to set up training. But training is pretty easy in this game right now. So just go out there, create a schedule for yourself, or leave it to the ass, man. The coaches don't do half a bad job in setting it up. But in the first season, it's not really going to be critical because you're trying to get yourself promoted. And that 1 point or 2 point attribute increase where you're so focused on isn't going to make a big difference. So what's going to be making a big difference is how you play. So tactically, what we did was we built a 4-2-3-1. Yes, this team is built for the 4-2-3-1. In fact, the 4-2-3-1 is going to be a very good go-to tactic in FM19. It's definitely very, very good. It took us a while to get our 4-2-3-1 going. We started off the season. Pre-season was all 4-2-3-1, play well. Ipswich, we drew against Ipswich, 1-1. We needed a 70th minute equalizer from Joe Rothwell against Ipswich. But there's going to be one common theme in our 4-2-3-1, right? It's going to be the amount of possession we have. We are literally setting up shop in opposition halves. We go in there, we pitch a tent, we don't move. Yeah, we control long periods of the game, and this means that your team you'll have to think about your set pieces, who's playing your set pieces. What we also did was we focused on things like set piece delivery, set piece training, defending training, and this was a very well worked goal. I mean, in the end, Brereton just scored, hammered it home. Then I like Bradley Dack. Bradley Dack is going to be a very good player in this team. So this is a counter attack from defending deep. Brereton brought the ball up in our 4-2-3-1, swept the ball. Suttner, the wing back, ended up in the half, and bang, we scored the winning goal against Millwall. And then we had this rather embarrassing match against Shrewsbury because I was trying a low block with a 4-2-3-1. As far as the 4-2-3-1 is concerned, it can be a very defensively solid tactic. So here we are away at Hull, and we had a lot of fun against Hull. This was a match where at the start of the game, our 4-2-3-1 was fairly conservative. We were camping in the opponent's half. We managed to score a goal from a corner. Then our second goal was fairly well worked. Clark scoring off a clearance, and then this was a counter attack from one end of the pitch to the other end of the pitch. We were defending like 5 seconds earlier, and this was another attack where we switched the tactic around slightly towards the second half of the match, and we scored our winning goal with a 4-2-3-1. And let me explain how it works. Now, when you look at a 4-2-3-1, there's going to be many options for you. I love the 4-2-3-1 right now, but generally I used to hate it in FM18 and before. Anyone who knows me will know I never liked the 4-2-3-1 because it's supposed to be defensively rugged. Unfortunately, in the world of Football Manager, it isn't. So I used to say I didn't like it at all. But now, finally, in FM19, it actually plays the way as we expect it to. You got these two players, which I've set them up as what I would call a mobile pivot. Now, this is a mobile pivot. You can, of course, turn it into a static pivot. But here, it depends on who you're playing. So in some matches, I played a Carrillo and a DLP. In other matches, I might play as a Carrillo and even a ball-winning midfielder on defense. So I've turned this into a static pivot as well. But when I do play it as a static pivot, what I might do, which is how we scored the other two goals, was I turn this guy into an inside forward and support, turn this guy into a fullback on attack against teams that are getting very tired. So the moment they get tired, I turn this guy into a fullback, so we stretch the opposition. So they're gonna not only have they got to deal with us keeping the ball, now they got to deal with the guy who's gonna run at them and stretch them. So that last goal that you saw happened because we stretched the team. Hull in the last 10 minutes, they just couldn't handle our pace, which is one of the reasons why I recommend doing endurance training at the start of the season. In that match, the average match conditioning of my player at the end of the game was still 75%, 70 to 75%. The opposition was down to 60. So they were just tired, just couldn't keep up with us. And how do we set it up? I'm not playing a high press. I'm not playing that ridiculous. I mean, I don't play high intensity tactics. I use like a middle press, and then sometimes I'll go to a low press. If I really need to, I go into a high press. So I can set 3 pressing styles within the same system. So here we are playing with just an attacking with, playing standard direct, being more expressive, play our defense, ball into box. In transition, we are regrouping and counter. Now this is not a rule. If I wanted to go push into the opposition half, I'll go counter press counter. Yeah, this is just counter and regroup. If I go counter press, my team might get tired. So I don't want to do that. I just tell them to regroup, and then we'll hit them on their counter. Take short kicks from the goalkeeper, distribute centre backs. We are defending narrow, so that means we're fairly congested when we are in our own half. Prevent short goalkeeper distribution really depends. Now, if in that game, towards the end of the second half, we actually did this. We actually went with a much lower line of engagement. We actually dropped the standard defensive line. We drew them in. We removed the prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and I didn't use any OIs. Right, so this would allow us to soak and hit them on the break. Another form is to play it with a middle, what I call a middle press. So you can have a middle press with a high defensive line, a standard defensive line, prevention, goalkeeper distribution. Why? Because you got your strikers up front. You can do that anyway. So they'll do it anyway. So might as well get them to just chop players down, chop players' legs down. It's so wrong, but never mind. Okay, so essentially that's it. So we can set this tactic up with a middle press. We can set it up with a high press or a low press. It's really up to you. But the principle of the low press, the middle press is fairly standard. It's how you. I'll do a video. I've already done a video for it. I'll release it very soon. But low press, standard to low line of engagement, or in fact standard to much lower line of defensive line, then lower line of engagement, no prevention of goalkeeper distribution, definitely get stuck in, no use of side trap if you want to play with a low press. Middle press is what I have at the moment. You can have a middle press as standard defensive line, or a high defensive line, lower line of engagement, or much lower line of engagement. This one you got to be careful if you're fluid. Or if your ship has got too many support duties. And then I left it on balance. Balance is kind of easy. There's no most of my support duties will be focused on doing both sides of the job, right? Here you can play a prudential goalkeeper distribution. The high press is very easy. So you just push this all the way to the top, push this to the way to the top, use title marking, prudential goalkeeper distribution. Definitely do not use get stuck in. But you don't need to play the high press with the 4-2-3-1. Because you're still going to be pressing anyway. So I wouldn't play with a high press with this. You got to control matches so brilliantly with the 4-2-3-1 with Blackburn. We are literally destroying teams by boredom. When we keep the ball, we move the ball around, we travel away to Hull, and Hull can't get to the ball. 62% possession is the average for this team. 64%. It's ridiculous. It's just anal how much possession we're generating at the moment. Well, this is how your Blackburn team is going to play. In fact, I dare say this much. I don't believe that Blackburn is not going to get into the playoff spots. I think this is going to be a interesting save. I might even continue this because I'm actually kind of fascinated by how Blackburn is using the 4-2-3-1. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Getting Started With, and I hope you found it useful. Just remember the 3 things that you need to do with Blackburn when you take it. First thing, go get your head of sports science. Very, very important. Set up your preseason with some endurance training so your players don't get fatigued very early. Go get wingbacks. You need them. You definitely need those wingbacks. And if you can get those wingbacks in, you will be sorted. And finally, the system that you're going to be using, in my opinion, the best system that they can use is the 4-2-3-1. The other system that they can use is actually the 4-4-2 diamond, which is also a very strong system in FM19. So I hope that this video has helped you. If you have any questions, please look me up on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website. Once again, I'd like to thank all my patrons for their continued support of this channel to make these kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys take care. Have a good one. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.